When I finished The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East, at the very end of Volume 6, there's 6 volumes to this, and it's a series of expeditions and then the teachings of people who just worked and lived amongst these really highly spiritual people who lived up in Nepal and China and India and so on back in the 1890s. But just an interesting, exciting thing to read. I was sort of just fascinated by it. So I read all 6 volumes this summer. But at the very end of it, there was something that I circled and I wrote down, and I said, I just always, because I call my seminar now, the one in Portland, is I Am Light, and we did one here in Maui. And this is what they said at the very end. This is what the Master said. There is a light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. That light is eternal, all-powerful and imperishable. Only that which is subject to birth is subject to death. The light is the extension of God into man. It is not born, nor can it die. And I just thought that was just such a beautiful way to end it. Actually, that was done at a ceremony in celebrating the end of Bear Spalding's life when they were doing the tributes to him at the end. So let me just read it to you one more time. Everybody out there listening, and think about this and the implications of this. That's why I call it I Am Light. There is a light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. This light is eternal. It's all-powerful and imperishable, which means that this light is in each and every one of us. Only that which is subject to birth is subject to death. So the only thing that's subject to birth and death is the physical world, is everything that we look around at it. But there's something invisible. There's a light inside everything that lights everything. And this light is the extension of God into man. It is not born, nor can it die. So that all of us are extensions of God. We all have this spark of God within us, and it's something that we have a tendency to forget. And we also identify ourselves and all of our goals and all of the things that we can do on the basis of the things that are born and die. But there's something that's birthless. There's something that's beginningless. There's something that's endless. That opens the flowers, as I say, and I always love what Rumi said, what was said to the rose, and that made it open, was said to me here in my heart when I met you. He's speaking about God. That was Rumi. And so think about that. Think about the invisibleness within you. That is eternal. That is a light that you emanated from. And it's really a definition of who you are. You're certainly not this thing that is born and dies, because if you were that, it wouldn't go away. It's an endless proposition, and coming to grips with infinity is, I think, probably the biggest step towards understanding enlightenment. To recognize your infinite nature.
And takes away the fear of what happens after the physical body ends. And you're saying it doesn't.
Right. That was, and by the way, that whole fear thing is the cause of so many of us having our, because fear is not something that's in the physical world. You can't go out and find a bucket of fear and bring it home and say, okay, this is it. So fear is just it's just almost a violation of the inner light that is infinite, because it's once you know that you're infinite and eternal and can't die, there's no fear. And Anita's big message of Dying to Be Me is that fear is the thing that causes, cancer, certainly, and most diseases that we experience. It's just, a non-recognition of how powerful we are. And remember that your thoughts are such that if you are injected with a saline solution but you are told and really believe that this is a drug that's going to help you with your cancer, and you're going to lose your hair when there's no reason for you to lose your hair. The power of the mind.
That's so amazing. It really is.
Yes.
And the power of belief, like you've talked about so often before.
Right. So and when we start believing this, and then I was talking to my daughter, who's down in Kentucky right now, and she was talking about the things that she couldn't do and the things that she was afraid of, and she sent me an email going through all of this negativity that's in her heart about certain problems that she's dealing with right now and so on. And I wrote her back and asked her to send me a different email, indicating all the things that are working, that are positive, and that are creative, and you're capable of doing, instead of focusing on what I can't do and what's missing and what's wrong and what somebody else did, and I don't have enough money and I don't have enough of this and that. And it's like, if we understood the power of who we are and what we're capable of, and just went through our lives in a state of bewilderment about being such all-powerful beings, knowing that essence is within each and every one of us. If we could just really have that light. And that's what I'm trying to encourage people to do. And by the way, it's what we really need to do on our planet today. I mean, we're just, it's just almost seems like we're just going back to a place of insanity in our world where there's so much violence and so many people killing we see so much of it out there we're just fed a steady diet of this. When in fact, for every act of evil and hatred and so on in the world, there's a million acts of kindness, and we really need to focus on that and really shift. I think that probably the biggest mystery to me in life is trying to understand man's inhumanity to man. I don't know, Diane. I've just never been able to get it. And that's what Lao Tzu was saying back 2,500 years ago when he left the warring states in China. That this whole idea that our original nature is one of gentleness and kindness. We come from a state of love and perfection. And every little infant that comes into the world with this perfection and this beauty and this gentleness and this kindness and its whole purpose in being here is to serve and to love and to care for and have compassion. And yet we just twisted so much of that around. I think so many of the great spiritual masters just, and especially reading the life and teachings of the masters of the Far East, they just can't understand why we've taken on these egos and just have to compete with each other and have to defeat each other and have to, create weapons to destroy each other. All of this stuff that is from an absence of an awareness that there's a light inside each and every one of us, and it's imperishable. It can't die. It can't die.